Imagine if an assistant secretary of state had done what Hillary Clinton, we know that she did. They'd be out of the State Department.
Which things?
Commingling, a family foundation, donations from foreign governments, increased speech fees, and government actions. We don't know about...
Well, no evidence of government action.
Well, there were government actions taken. What we don't know, and this goes to the deleted emails, is what kind of communication did Hillary Clinton have on her private email account regarding her husband's speeches and regarding the foundation activities that involve foreign donations.
Mark Halpern, ladies and gentlemen, on This Week, and George Stephanopoulos apparently not too happy. Joining us now is Jamie Weinstein, senior editor of the Daily Caller. Jamie, welcome back. And before we get to Hillary and that whole shebang there, you are in Las Vegas because they had the Republican Jewish Coalition session, the convention, and a lot of Republican candidates were there. And although no media were allowed in, George W. Bush made news there. According to people who leaked what he said, actually for the first time that we know of, criticizing the foreign policy of Barack Obama.
Exactly. George W. Bush has been, as you know, noticeably quiet, deliberately quiet during the term of Barack Obama. I think he didn't like when Jimmy Carter would speak out during his own presidency and thinks that it's the right thing to do to give the president his own space and not have a former president out there criticizing them. And he was out here in Las Vegas, though, and he did criticize the president for the first time that we know of. It was behind closed doors. It was supposed to be off the record. It was off the record, but some of the notes from that was leaked to reporters like Josh Rogan at Bloomberg News, and he basically lambasted the president's policy in the Middle East, thinks the president is a little bit too weak, maybe be succumbing to the kind of charms of the Iranian negotiators. So it was not a positive review of this current president by former President Bush.
Yeah, and I know that you spoke to several. I know you're going to be doing several pieces, one on Lindsey Graham, one on Ted Cruz, on the Daily Caller. Who impressed you, and who impressed the folks there, maybe more importantly? I know you spoke to Ari Fleischer, who's on the board of the RJC.
So a lot of candidates were out here this year. Some were out here last year. The board of the RJC contains many, many mega donors to Republicans, multi-billionaires, including, of course, Sheldon Adelson, who is the #1 donor of them all. So they were all candidates out here auditioning. I talked to Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz in interviews. But according to Ari Fleischer, who is on the board, the top two candidates right now among the board, the mega donors of the RJC, are, not surprisingly, Jeb Bush and Scott Walker. That's not because they're the most pro-Israel or most foreign policy savvy among the group. It's because right now that's what the group thinks is the most electable in a general election. Now, that could change. Ari pointed out that things are very close, things are very fluid. They like Marco Rubio's fluency on foreign policy. But right now, the board is trying to win the election in 2016, and they think at this moment Jeb Bush and Scott Walker are the two top candidates to them. But Marco Rubio is rising.
All right, I was going to ask about Rubio. I'm glad you threw him in. All right, we look forward to your pieces at the Daily Caller on the interview with Graham and Cruz. Let me ask you about another piece that you wrote, the 9 uncomfortable questions for Hillary Clinton going forward. How much trouble do you think she's in? See, I think if we fall into this proof of a quid pro quo, you're never going to find proof. But as Mark Halpern said, we know that government policy was made, and we know that contributions were made and speaking fees were paid. So whether or not you could prove that that's why it was done, quid pro quo, the facts are the facts.
Well, I saw that interview with George Stephanopoulos with Peter Schweitzer. And, George Stephanopoulos understandably is skeptical, but I thought he was unfairly skeptical and trying to push an agenda to some degree. He was asking Peter Schweitzer for a smoking gun.
Wait, but are you saying George Stephanopoulos would have an agenda?
I know. It's shocking. But he was asking Peter Schweitzer to show a smoking gun to prove that there was a criminal act that occurred, and I thought Schweitzer had a good answer. With Bob McConnell in Virginia and Robert Menendez in New Jersey in their cases of corruption, there wasn't any smoking gun. And in the case of Menendez, when they just indicted him or put him under investigation, there was no smoking gun. There was a series of questionable and very circumstantial, problematic donations for things that occurred that they needed to pursue, and they need subpoena power and things along those lines to find that smoking gun. I think what we've seen that laid out in Schweitzer's book and elsewhere is some troubling, associations, money going somewhere and then something getting in return while Hillary's at the State Department, and it's up to the Justice Department to find that smoking gun. Schweitzer's done a service here by laying out some real problems, and now you're asking him to even do more than that.
Yeah,
I think now it's up to the authorities.
Well, justice isn't going to do it. Maybe some journalists can do it, and hopefully maybe the Daily Caller could help lead the way, as you often do. Thank you very much, Jamie. Great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you.
All right, thank you.